We know there's been a decline in ordinary people trusting politicians, but now we have the evidence. We have the evidence that Rishi Sunak says, on the basis of Laurie Magnus's ethics report, why on earth Rishi Sunak ever needed anybody else to confirm what was glaringly obvious. He says that Nadim Zahawi showed insufficient regard for the general principles of the ministerial code and the requirements in particular to be honest, open, and an exemplary leader through his own behaviour. I should have thought that that also means that he should step down as an MP with immediate effect. How on earth can an MP expect to command any sort of trust, to maintain any sort of responsibility and respect in his party, in his constituency, in the country, when that level of censure has taken place at the highest level? He was critical, the Prime Minister was critical of Zahawi for talking about smears on his character when the first reports of his tax affairs came, for threatening to sue the reporter who drew attention to the scandal. The threatening letters that were sent to that reporter are abhorrent, and of course that sort of threatening, those sort of threatening legal letters are sent to people who are whistleblowers throughout our public services, in the NHS, for example, in teaching, and of course in general political intercourse. It is utterly shocking, and maybe this lifts the lid on a can of worms that has long been in need of stirring and releasing. Zahawi will have to decide what he's going to do next, but the Prime Minister says that I consider that this delay in correcting an untrue public statement is inconsistent with the requirement for openness. That's what Sir Laurie Magnus wrote and what the Prime Minister has quoted. It comes about at a time when trust in what politicians are doing should be greater, and is probably at its nadir, that the public have less trust in the government and in politicians than ever in history before. Well, why are we surprised when we have people like Nadim Zahawi elected to office? We now wait to see what sort of impression the report on Dominic Raab makes. But if that is delayed for much longer, that will equally have an extremely tarnishing effect on Rishi Sunak. The best Rishi Sunak can do now is get Raab out of the way as fast as possible, and possibly while he's at it, get rid of Matt Hancock, Nadine Dorries, and Priti Patel and Suella Braverman. All of these need to go, because they all fall well below the levels of honour that we expect of public servants. Somebody who can stand by the dispatch box and utter racist abuse to an entire country. Somebody who can be accused with impunity of bullying. Somebody who is indifferent to the suffering of people who have given their lives for our country, who have risked their lives for our country. And somebody who can be so free with favours, while at the same time rummaging in the safe stationery cupboard, betraying the principles of the extraordinary safety regulations which were imposed during COVID, and yet Matt Hancock was scrabbling about looking for an HB pencil with a rubber on it. It is disgraceful, and it's disgraceful that these people have survived and continue to dominate our news reports again and again and again. They are desperate for coverage, and while they are in office, while they are still in power, while they are still parliamentarians, Rishi Sunak, as the head of this gang, is tarnished. He needs to get rid of the lot.